This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're dealing with a refrigerator door that is sagging, and sometimes this is due to so much liquid being put on the door that it's so heavy that it starts to sag. And other times it's just due to the hinge being out of adjustment or a little part called the hinge washer being worn out. So we're going to be checking it out. We're going to use a standard head screwdriver to pry off this little cap here at the top, and we're going to take off the freezer door first. So we zip out these two screws. This is the very top of the hinge assembly. And we'll lift this hinge out, kind of remember where the screws go. And now we can lift up on the freezer door and just put that off to the side. I already have the compressor turned off. You can unplug it or just turn off the compressor so that while you have it open and you're working on it, it's not continually trying to cool down. So now we're going to remove this Phillips head screw here. And there's two screws to the left. You don't have to remove them. You can loosen them, and then you can pull this whole bracket, this whole hinge out to your right, and then you can slip that hinge out. So the ones here on the left-hand side, they have slots, so you can just pull it out. And they're really hard to get to those screws otherwise. Get that off to the side. And now we can lift up on the refrigerator door and lift it out of the way. So in this case, the right-hand upper part of the door was sagging, and there was like a leak that was occurring. Warm air was sneaking in. So down here at the bottom, we have this hinge pin, and then there's a washer, and this washer is probably just a little bit worn out. So if you buy this washer, you can get these at Appliance Supply, or this is from Amazon. This will give you a little bit more lift with the door and will get rid of the sag. These are usually made of nylon type of plastic. So when we put the new one in there, it's creating a little bit higher space, and that helps to get rid of the sag. So now we're going to put the door back on, get it into position, and then we're going to slide in that middle hinge pin. So there's a little washer that goes behind it. Make sure you put that in a spacer. And you're going to slide it in underneath the screws to the left, put the hinge pin down in the door, and then slide it in. And then we'll add the Phillips head screw to the right. We'll tighten all three of the screws down. The ones on the left, you probably don't even have to loosen them to get the assembly out, because they're really hard to get to. Get that tight, and then we're just going to take the freezer door, put that back down onto the hinge pin. And then we're going to put the top hinge pin on. And we'll put those screws back into position. When I tighten up these screws, I like to lift up the lower right-hand section of the freezer door so that it's up nice and flat. It is not sagging as I tighten the screws, because there is a little bit of play there, you can see in the video. And if you lift up with your hand while you're tightening those screws, it keeps that freezer door from sagging. I'm going to lift it up a little bit and just tighten those up. Get those really tight. And then we'll go ahead and just put that plastic cap back on. That just snaps back into position. And that should get rid of the sag. Sometimes that bottom pin that goes underneath the refrigerator door sags a little bit and you have to tighten up the screws. But in this case, that nylon bushing or washer did the trick. So that's helpful to you, and please subscribe when you get a chance. Thank you.